Hello, welcome to the Thought Leader Recruiter podcast show. We're joined today by Pete Neubig, co-founder at VPM Solutions. Pete, welcome to the show.
Sam, thanks so much for having me, man. Appreciate you having me on.
No, pleasure's all mine. Yeah, so can you start by sharing more about your niche in the virtual staff and how do you support real estate and property management space?
Yeah, so thanks for that. So VPM Solutions is it's a marketplace that allows real estate companies, mainly property managers, find remote team members in second and third world countries, right? So think like Mexico, Philippines. And what we found was when we were building our property management firm back in 2012 through 2019, that it was really hard to find really good people in the US right near your office, so to speak. And there's a lot of low level, entry level type jobs, especially in property management, but in real estate brokerages, HOA offices, multifamily, single family management. And they're really hard to find people that could work for what the company can support. And so you can then hire somebody in Mexico, let's say for $10, $12 an hour, which is really cheap for us, but for them, it actually is more money than they actually can make in their local market. So it becomes a win-win for both the firm in the US and Canada we support and for the team member. And so our platform, we have over 40,000 people looking to work. We have free training and certification so they can learn more about real estate and property management. We do video resumes, disc profiles, so you can kind of make really good decisions before you even interview some folks. You can kind of weed out the ones that are maybe not a good fit.
Yeah, gotcha. Sounds interesting. And what kind of companies do you work with the most? Is it mainly residential?
Yeah, so we really focus on residential single family management. And the main reason is that that was my world for 10 years. So I knew a lot of folks. I knew the industry really well. I knew the pain points because I literally had the pain points and I solved them with this solution. So when I brought this solution to, to the industry, I just leveraged all of my knowledge and my, contacts, we're not venture backed. We're not PE backed. I call it Pete backed. We're bootstrapped. I'm the one who invested. When I sold the firm, I took a big portion of that money that I made from the sale and I invested it into this company. So we're just kind of limited on funds. So instead of going agnostic, we decided to go really deep and niche down into property management. But we have a lot of brokers that use us, and we have like doctors' offices. We have people that need entry level jobs that do not require them to be on the in the office can use our platform. It's just that our training modules are built mainly for real estate. We do have some marketing and some accounting training on there, but it's mainly built for real estate.
Sure. I mean, the job market is competitive as ever, as you know. How do you help your candidates stand out when they're applying for virtual roles?
Yeah, I mean, well, we teach the remote team members to they have to fill out a profile up to about 70%. So we call it like a complete profile, right? The more your profile is completed, the better off you're going to be, and more companies will want to will want to interview you. So the number one way that you get noticed if you're a remote team member looking for work, the number one way is have a complete profile, have a really good we have like a video resume, and if you if you got no lighting is bad and you're not dressed appropriately and your microphone's terrible and you're doing a self interview, it's not going to be a good look, right? The self resume or the resume is really like that's kind of like your how people can see you and see how you are, right? So if you take it professionally, like some of the folks, they're dressed appropriately. They actually do slides in and out, so they show like they have these tech abilities. So that's probably the number one way to get noticed on the platform. When a company is looking, they can search by skill sets, specific skill sets in property management, real estate, or generic skill sets, software skill sets. They can search by certifications. So if you're looking for a job on the platform, I would take a lot of the courses on VPM and get those certifications. So you might not have experience in property management, but if you take our flagship courses of Property Management 101, you can get a certification in it. And now at least you show that, hey, I know a little bit about property management because I've taken these courses. I can retain the information because I passed the test to get the certification. And I'm showing that I'm going above and beyond because I'm doing it in my own time. Right. So we literally, for the companies, is great because it shows people with initiative. So I'd say those are the best ways that you can utilize the platform.
Yeah, sounds like a really good platform with the courses and the learnings. It's yeah, excellent stuff. I read a stat. Apparently, 60% of the US companies can't find good candidates. Do you think that's because there's a true kind of talent shortage, or a hiring team is looking in the wrong places?
Well, I think it depends. Okay. So if you're a company in the States and you are still requiring people to come into an office, you really just have a very, you have like a 20-minute radius around you because no one wants to go to an office anymore in the States. So if somebody lives 30 minutes out from the office and then with traffic, it's an hour to get there, and it's an entry level job, most likely you're going to have a really hard time filling that position. Secondly, is people now, cost of living has gone up. And the cost of living has gone up faster than our revenue as companies has gone up and our profit margins. So now to get the same person in an entry level job, it might be, 50,000 US a year to start. That doesn't include employer taxes, PTO, medical, and all the other benefits that go with it that the company has to contribute or pay for. So that's another challenge because we can't afford that. So I need that same type of person at 35,000 a year. And what happens is you get lower quality. I take it you get like the best of the bottom of the barrel. Right? So you get people that maybe have a GED, didn't finish high school, no college degree whatsoever, didn't start any college. They have challenges they have challenges in their personal life. Car doesn't work, baby mama drama, and they bring all that into your company. And then the last thing is the mindset is they see it as a job, not as a career. Right? An entry level job really could be a career. Even if it's in a smaller firm, it could be a career. You could start off as a maintenance coordinator, get a maintenance supervisor, become maintenance manager or property manager. So it could be a stepping stone, but most of the folks, their mindset is, man, it's just a job. I just want to punch in, punch out. I don't incorporate the core values of the company. Don't really care. It's just a paycheck. And when you find somebody overseas, they're like, holy crap, this is the most money I've ever made. This is a great career choice for me. I get to work from home. So it's a little bit different. And of course, if you go outside your 20-minute radius, you have you have way more talent to choose from. And so I think those are some of the reasons why US companies are having a harder time, at least filling positions locally.
Yeah, sure. And yeah, you touched on it then. The remote versus in office is always a hot debate. Where do you see the property management space landed on this?
Yeah, so the property management space was kind of an early adopter on this. They were doing remote workers prior to the pandemic. Once the pandemic hit, it really supercharged it and it became more normal. And today it's more normalized than ever. However, I am seeing a shift, not in property management, but in the big tech companies here in the US and the oil companies. I'm in Texas, so oil's big here. I am seeing more companies now requiring people to come back into the office. For the tech companies, they're saying that, hey, we need people to come back into the office because that helps us, kind of riff together and it helps us brainstorming, right? It's more about the creativity side. The oil companies are just old school. They bought all these big buildings and they want people in them. This is basically what I can see. But really, it comes down to I think post pandemic, early on, there was a because this has been an age old challenge in because I was in IT for many years and we were always trying to get people to work off site. And what we had found back then was like actually productivity goes down. Well, after 2020, productivity went up for people. They didn't have to, travel to and from the office. They were able to figure it out. What I think though over time is productivity may be going down And I think companies are seeing that. And there's another pandemic out there where people are having multiple jobs, right? So I work for one company 40, quote unquote 40 hours a week, and then I work for two other companies, quote unquote 40 hours a week, and I'm pulling three paychecks. And so that's a challenge remotely, and it's a challenge here in the US when they work remote. So I think companies are seeing they need better creativity. They're seeing that their company performs better when people are in the office. They're seeing maybe productivity is going down overall, and that people are taking advantage. And it just takes one bad apple to spoil the bunch.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you can see the argument on both sides. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer there, is there? It's just it suits some companies, it suits some individuals, and yeah, I think the main thing is companies need to be more flexible and
Yeah,
less rigid.
my philosophy is I hire remote, especially if it's outside the states. I'm gonna basically pay them more than they ever got paid before, and I'm going to manage them in a couple of different ways. The number one way I look at is availability, right? Are you available? And we have company policy on that. If I Slack you, you got to Slack me back within 15 minutes. If I email you, it's 2 hours. If I call you, it's like within 30 minutes. And we just have all these policies. When you're on camera, you're dressed appropriately in your home office, not at a Starbucks, right? And then the next thing I look at is escalations. Are there internal, external escalations where you're not getting your job done or people can't get in touch with you? And then the last thing is key performance indicators. Everybody in my company has KPIs, at least one KPI, maximum is three. I don't believe in 15 KPIs, and if everything's important, nothing's important. And if you hit these metrics, I really don't care if you work 10 hours a week or 45 hours a week. I just don't. And there's so many people that when you go remote, they are micromanaging you. They want to take they want you to write everything you've done for the day. If you can't get in touch with them within 5 minutes, they think you're doing something else. And if my team did have another job, that would be a core value challenge, and I get that, and I'd have to let them go because we have core values here that we want those type of people. But honestly, if they're putting in 30 hours a week, I'm paying them for 40, and as long as they're getting their job done, I'd rather my team be able to get all the work done in 30 hours than not get their work done in 40 hours, right? Because if that's the case, then they're stressed out, and we have too much work for those folks. And so I'm gonna need to hire somebody, and I want all my team to be able to put in 30 hours and not be stressed out. And I think you get more productivity, believe it or not, with less time. Like just sitting there, because I'm old school. I started working in the early 90s. Back then, like you had to punch a clock, right? And like my day might be done at 3. Like there's literally nothing else for me to do, but I had to sit there till 5 o'clock, right? Just because you have to put in your 8-hour days. Even though I'm old school, I just don't agree with that methodology. I just think get your stuff done and go do what you got to do, right? Like my team works 7 days a week because they can go out and they can go pick up their kids from school at 2 in the afternoon or whatever it was. And then, but they're always thinking about something for VPM and they're like, oh, and then they answer emails. Like, so I think the new work world really is just it's just like part of your everyday life now.
Yeah, for sure. That used to drive me crazy in my old work. We'd finish at say 1, 2 o'clock, earn our money for the day. There's nothing else we can do. No, you're staying there till 5 o'clock. It used to drive me mad, but yeah, glad
Yeah.
them days are gone.
There's still some people that think that way,
Yeah,
um, because they think, quote unquote, you're stealing time.
yeah,
And I just don't believe in that. I just believe if you hire somebody who's a superstar and they can get the work done in half the time, isn't that still better than having somebody who's not a superstar and takes them, triple the time to get things done?
yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah, we know the tech stack has changed a lot in recent years. According to McKinsey, 50% of all employees will need to be reskilled by 2027 due to AI and automations. Are you seeing clients adapt fast enough to build teams with more modern skill sets?
yeah, I definitely have. AI is kind of interesting. I haven't really put my finger on it yet, and I don't know how it affects VPM just yet. I will say this: AI does remind me of like IT back in the early 2000s, right? Everybody said, oh, with the internet or these computers, everybody's position is going to go away. And instead it created, this huge influx of new jobs, right? Back when I started in IT, I was just an IT guy, right? But after 20 years, you were like, okay, are you a hardware guy, a software guy? Are you a router guy? Are you a firewall guy? Are you a developer? Are you back end developer, front end developer? So I think it's going to be the same thing with AI. I think AI is going to create so many opportunities and more jobs. So yes, I think jobs will go away. There are going to be jobs that go away, just like there were jobs that went away when the PC came out, but it created so many new jobs. So I feel like it's going to be the same thing. Now, how does that affect VPM? Because we do entry level jobs, which is what AI is trying to replace. I don't know that yet. I haven't figured that out yet. And the property management industry is definitely embracing AI as it should. I have not seen a reduction in force yet, but I think you're going to need like an AI specialist, not somebody who can code an AI, but somebody who can like talk to AI, right? Somebody who can build stuff inside of AI, but not like an AI developer. So I think you need those, and then you need people who know how to use the product. And I think there's some opportunity there. So yeah, look, even though I'm in my 50s, I'm not scared of it. There's a lot of people that are, especially at my age. I think it's just going to be another IT boom deal. And I just have to figure out as the CEO of VPM how we can utilize AI and be on the forefront of it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And yeah, just going back to candidates, actually, what advice would you give candidates who are struggling to get interviews in the remote space?
I would say if you can start recording your interviews with the folks. Like if you're all right. So here's the thing: are you getting interviews? That's the first thing, right? So I look at it like when we lease properties. Am I getting people to actually go to the property? If not, pricing's a challenge, right? So if you're not getting anybody to schedule an interview with you or any inquiries, then look at your profile. Are you asking too much for what you do? Do you have a good video? Are do you have good English skills? The better you know English, the more opportunities there are. Not that there's none if you don't have good English skills, but that could be something. What do you have a video? Do you have a full profile? So I think that's the first thing. Then if you do get the interviews and you're not getting selected, you have to really think through, your interview. What did you say? How did you say it? Did you do any research on the company? Do you know their core values? Because a lot of people hire, especially entry level jobs, they don't want a lot, like they not everybody's looking for experience. As a matter of fact, I actually teach experience is probably the wrong way to go. Can't teach an old dog new tricks, and the reason why people want experience is because they're lazy. They don't want to train. That's really what it comes down to. If I hire somebody who knows maintenance coordination, then I don't have to train them. And they still do. They just don't want to. And they're kind of putting their head in the sand. But I would look at if you could find out their core values. Do you embody those core values? If so, are you saying that in the interview? Are you familiar with disc profile? What is your personality profile? If you don't know it, learn it, and then you can find out if you're a good match for the job. So, for example, maybe you're going for jobs that are in finance, but maybe you're a high I, which is the opposite of finance. No one's going to hire you if you're a high I in a disc profile looking for finance, because finance is a C, it's complete opposite. So, learn more about the hiring process, learn more about the company. And if you're getting a lot of interviews and you're not closing the deal, I think you have to really look inside and say, what am I doing wrong? So that would be some advice.
Yeah, that's really great advice, actually. And final question: what are the biggest trends you think will shape the recruitment in property management over the next few years?
Well, AI is the easy one, right? These AI, what do they call them? Not bots, but like they can answer the phone, they can make phone calls. Agents, thank you. Yes. I think the AI agents, like, so with property management, it's really, it's a people business still. And you really don't want to get rid of that. But if you can answer the 80% of questions that are really basic through an AI agent, it reduces that call volume, reduces that ticket volume. And now your property management company, which are typically very reactive, right? They wait for the phone to ring, the email to bing. They're waiting for a problem because the problems are like water in property management. They just keep coming, right? It's just wave after wave after wave. So if I can reduce, and the reason people leave property management firms is because of lack of communication. Like that's the number one reason, right? They can go back, well, you didn't rent my house. Well, it's because I didn't communicate effectively and whatever, or maintenance, but it really goes back to communication. So if the agents can help the communication, but it doesn't take away the people side of things. So maybe the agent's used on the reactive side when they call, it answers the questions. And if they answer them, great. If not, it gets escalated to a property manager. But then because we can be more proactive, we can then reach out and make those relationship calls to not only our owner clients, but maybe even our residents. Right. And so I think the AI agents is going to be the next huge thing.
Yeah.
Automation is happening right now, and it's getting better. So when I was in property management, I actually had to build my own automation. I used HubSpot. I don't know how the hell we did it, but we found somebody that could actually build it in HubSpot. There's a company called Lead Simple. There's another company called Apply. They actually build automation for property management firms. So that's the next thing. Right? A lot of stuff we do. Right? A lease renewal is a lease renewal. You got to go through the same process, whether you have one or 5,000. So if you can create a process and then hire a remote team member to run the process, then that's going to be helpful, because the name of the game for property management companies is, how many people do I need to manage? Can I get less people, more doors, right? So if I'm a 1 to 100, can I get that 1 to 125, 1 to 130? That really, when I say 1 to 100, 1 to 100 units, 1 to 100 properties, right? Can I get that to 1 to 125, 1 to 300, whatever it is? Because that is where the profit margin is. Because the biggest expense for a property management firm, because it's a service-based industry, just like any service-based industry, number one expense is people. So if you can find out how to reduce the cost and get better quality, i.e., remote team members, and then you can increase the number of doors that they can manage, i.e., AI and automation. Well, now you're set up for success. And instead of like single digit profit margin, you can get to that 20 to 30% profit margin.
Yeah. Yeah. Very interesting. Yeah. It's been great conversation. Where can our audience find a bit more about VPM Solutions and yourself?
Yeah, you can go to VPM Solutions with an S.com, or you can email me. I'm old school. I don't have a VA that runs my email. I still run it. It's Pete at VPMSolutions.com.
Perfect. Thanks again, Pete. Appreciate your time today.
Thanks, Sam. Appreciate you.
Thank you.